Hello, everybody. So, welcome to the comfy Friday night live stream. It's almost Saturday. So, I'm sorry that the streams this week have been, frankly, god awful. Nothing's really happened with them, etc. So, just briefly, what wound up happening with all of that is, well, the first night I was super tired, and then we tried to do another stream, and that stream didn't really work out because I got trolled. A bunch of detractors joined the chat and screwed that up. And yeah. So since this is the first actual stream that's going to be archived on my channel. Oh, by the way, so I've switched over to Streamlabs. So I have like a better overlay now and that kind of thing. And yeah, if people want to do donations, we have pop-ups now, including voice to text. Sorry, text to voice. Uh, yeah, so the link to that's below. So what was I thinking about again? Um, okay, so just briefly, like I said, because this is the first stream back that's going to be archived. So what wound up happening? I'm sorry, I'm telling this story another time, but about 3 months, well, exactly 3 months ago, as of this Monday, I I had put out prior to that a series of videos dealing with Yandere Dev. Um, we all know about Yandere Dev. We all know, etc. You can't see those videos anymore because I'm not allowed to put them up because we can't have nice things. But anyway, so I'd done these videos making fun of him. For those of you who don't know who Yandere Dev is, he's making this game called Yandere Simulator, and he's been working on it for like the last 6 years, and he's made no progress, pretty much. And it's like this crappy sandbox game. It's supposed to be like a mixture of Hitman and like a visual novel and like a high school anime. So like your character Yandere-chan is trying to win the heart of Senpai, but she's too scared to approach Senpai. So because she's too scared to approach Senpai, um, she just settles for killing off her rivals. So in this game, which is designed for, um, yeah, actually a viewer of mine who's a graphic designer, I commissioned him to do some new stuff for me. What was I thinking of again? I should adjust this so chat messages last a little longer. So they're kind of fading a bit fast. So let me just go and change that. But yeah, so Yandere Dev's game, which is mainly designed for his 10-year-old fan base, um, it's 10 to 12-year-olds. So you get to kill off your rivals using things like putting bleach in their coffee, stabbing them, pushing them to fans so they get just killed that way. It's like one of the most horrifically violent things. The power ups in the game is you like get panty shots, and you like sell panty. You trade panty shots in to some creepy pervert person, and what was I thinking about? Yeah, so you do that. He added in another great new feature that's perfect for the kiddies. And in the new feature he put in, you can sell people to the Yakuza. And the Yakuza will. I'm just trying to see why isn't the chat working. I'm trying to fix this. Yeah, so you sell them to the Yakuza, and they presumably either sell their body parts for organs, or they sell them into sex slavery in Eastern Europe. And then the Yakuza will carry out hits and get you drugs and do other evil shit like that. Because it's for kids. That's what the whole point of the game is etc. So that's the game that Yandere Dev made, and he is a fucking freak show. He has, I think it's, let me see how many subscribers he has on YouTube at the moment. Yandere Dev. He's sitting at 2.2 million subs. He was making about $4,000 a month on Patreon. He gets just tons and tons of miscellaneous donations. Roughly, just looking at his number of views, I would guess he probably makes $100,000 to $150,000 a year American in ad revenue. So he had been doing this for like 4 or 5 years. He had 2 million fans. They were giving him money, etc. But the guy is a complete like just psycho. He scams his fans. He lies about putting stuff in. He carries out like campaigns to silence anyone, etc. So like someone had sent me information about him, and I'm like, this is crazy. I have to do a video about this. So I did a couple of videos just kind of making fun of him, and a couple of them started to go, by my standards at least, viral. So I started to get all kinds of views on them. Uh, uh, yeah, they started to get a bunch of views on them. I was getting all this attention, etc. And then suddenly, for reasons that no one can determine, my channel got uh, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Okay, so I'm just adjusting the chat bar a bit. So yeah, so I did a couple of videos making fun of him, and from what people tell me, in particular, me saying that he's worse than DSP, was what really triggered him and made him salty. So, um, yeah, so I was getting all these views. If people remember when those videos were up, about half of them were people agreeing with me, and about half of them were people who were just like flaming me for daring to question their dear leader. And there, people were like, well, it was like my normal stuff. I don't really do it that much editing, etc. But people were just getting really butthurt. So it was about 60, 70,000 views on each of the videos. And then suddenly they just went down. Suddenly I started getting community guideline strikes on my videos. So I think it was Movie Bob, and I think it was an Elliot Rogers one. But I got community guideline strikes. My channel immediately was live streaming was suspended, and I wasn't able to upload videos for 2 weeks. Sorry, for four. I think it was 2 weeks or something like that. So yeah, we'll start with the gameplay. I'm just getting through this, and then we'll get into it. But yeah, so that was down. I was able to successfully appeal one of the community guideline strikes. The second one I couldn't. So I reached out to YouTube, and it took a while to get in contact with them. But YouTube actually went through and looked at my account. Thank God. And they were just like, um, yeah, so they just got super triggered. Sorry, no. So they looked it up and they said, "Well, Argent, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of community guideline strikes on your videos. This is obviously bullshit. This is obviously part of a mass flagging campaign. So yeah, you're not on the hook. You didn't actually break any rules, etc." They just couldn't get through it. Um, Are you okay? You shut down that stream and went silent for a while. I don't know. Talk about that later. But is this lagging out or something? Hmm. Okay, if this is lagging really bad, let me know. Um, Sorry, is there an issue? Am I getting dropped frames? Oh, you're talking about the other day. Okay, sorry. Yeah, people came in and okay. Sorry, just some chat's a bit delayed, so I'm not sure what people are talking about some of the time. Okay. No, so what happened to the stream yesterday was, yeah, some people came in and posted porn, and I had to shut down the stream and delete it because I don't want to get a community guidelines strike. So YouTube wasn't able to remove the strikes, all of them in time, because there was a ton of them, and their system isn't built for dealing with thousands and thousands of strikes. But they know what to look out for. So if something like this happens again, hopefully they'll be able to respond to it. But I'm in the clear. I didn't actually do anything wrong. YouTube told me I didn't actually do anything wrong. They did say though that people um, were impersonating me, like, and they were using VPNs to make themselves look like they were from Toronto, and they were like had Argent period, and they were insulting YouTube staff and pretending to be me. So I don't know. Once again, YouTube obviously can't determine if it was him exactly, but because that's not really what they do. But they did tell me you were the victim of a mass cat flagging campaign, and you're not responsible for any of that stuff. So, anyways, that being said, let us begin Spore. Sorry about that. That takes that out of the way. So let's see here. This looks awful. These graphics have not aged well at all. There's a lot of games back from this age, that era, that actually look really nice. Like, let me see what Empire at War came out. Because I think Empire at War was around the same amount of time as this. Empire at War came out 2 years before this. Let me see when Sins of a Solar Empire came out. Okay, Sins of a Solar Empire came out in the same year as this. And Sins of a Solar Empire still looks good today. I could still pop open Sins of a Solar Empire, play it, and it looks great. This looks like crap. Now, granted, that's because I have a 2K screen, but yeah, so let's see. Play. Click a start to playing Spore. I guess I'll play this. Okay. So, for those of you who are younger than me, I think the thing you have to realize is how big this game was back in the day. Spore was like one of the biggest video game phenomenon of my lifetime. I think I'm going to be a carnivore. With this game, I guess I'll just try easy. I haven't played this game in years. Name your planet, Argentina. There we go. Ooh, let me turn that volume down. That's super loud. Yeah, so this was announced way back in, I don't know, 2005, 2006, whatever. And it was hyped to hell. They promised an absurd amount of stuff. The only game that I think's ever been this hyped was... the only thing that was like as hyped as this is I think it was, I'm trying to remember the one that was also a huge disappointment. Fable. Like, a lot of the stuff they claimed was in Fable, like fully destructible environments, weren't actually in the game. So Spore was super hyped. Everyone was excited. It sold a shit ton of copies. Then everybody played through it once, got bored, and never wanted to look at it again. So it's basically what Spore is it ripped off a whole bunch of other games. World of Warcraft, Civilization. I'm trying to remember what this one was. This is very similar to No Man's Sky. Anything procedurally generated, in my opinion, that isn't Diablo normally sucks. So, yeah. So, Whitey says Spore started with the character creator being open beta. I remember that. That was a feature they put out. Let's see here. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Okay, so you're a carnivore. This is quality gameplay. There's a much better game that's the same as this called Flow, I think it's called. Let me just look that up. Which is like the most relaxing thing ever. Let me see here. Yes, Flow. I'll post in the chat. So this came out 2 years before Spore, and it's way better than Spore. Etc. But yeah, so most people bought this game. They were extremely disappointed, and they never played it again or talked about it again. And people always remembered it as one of the biggest flops in video game history. I remember when it like came out. That was back when EB Games was still a thing. So I think the release date kept getting moved around, or I was just young and stupid and I didn't know where to how to look up release dates. That was back when the internet was not really what it was now, back in 2008. That was my first year of university, actually. So I didn't really have a lot of money, but I knew I just had to go out and play Spore. So I loved RTS. I liked RPGs. And I'm like, well, this is about as good as it gets. So yeah, so that stuff happened. I'm trying to cell creator. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Put a spike. What's that? Jaw, filter mouth, flagella, beady eye. I guess I'll put spikes like that. Okay, Argento Mon. That's what a very good friend of mine calls me after Guillemon from Digimon Tamers. He always calls me because Guillemon in Digimon Tamers calls Takato Takatomon, so he always calls me Argentomon. So that'll be what this species is. Yeah. So what was I? I'm losing my train of thought here again. Yeah, so I didn't know when the game was coming out, so I kept going to like the mall near where my school was, and I just kept going to the EB Games. They're like, "Is Spore out?" They're like, "No." "Is Spore out?" "No." "Is Spore out?" "Yeah, but we don't have any copies. I don't know we're gonna get any more." And so I was just completely okay. So Putin gas supply gives me. Wait a minute, is this popping up on screen? Um. Thank you for that, but it looks like it's not working properly. Because I do have chat alerts set up, so that should have been playing, so I apologize for that. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, so they're working. I just forget that things are really delayed. No, it goes through. There we go. Sorry, this is my first time trying it. Do more DSP and Star Wars vids. Yep, we'll do more of both of those. I try to space out DSP because some people hate how much I do of it. But no, I'll definitely do more Star Wars. If people like that, then yeah. I have the rest of the Imperial Civil War finished. I just have to. I was just uploading it over time. What was I thinking of again? Yeah, so it was around that time. So somebody said to me, they're like, "Why don't you just buy the game online if you can't find it in stores?" I'm like, "What the hell is buying a game online?" Because I had no experience buying things online. I had Steam because I wanted to play Half-Life 2, and Half-Life 2 required Steam, but more or less, oops, did I just die in Spore? But yeah, but I had just bought it in the in stores. Like you used to be able to buy. So like what Valve would do is they would release the orange box in stores, and there'd be the discs in it. But as part of it, it would also yeah. So the discs would be in it, but there would also be codes. So you would install it traditionally, but it would add it to Steam. So I knew that games online existed. So, like I said, I was in first year university. I didn't have a ton of money. I did have my parents' credit card. I hadn't gotten my own credit card at this point. So, I did use my parents' credit card, and I bought Spore. I did pay them back though. To be fair, like immediately. Um, I did pay them back. So, but yeah, that was how. That was how it is. Yeah, I did not position those spikes in a very good point. Yeah, these graphics are like something you'd see on the Dreamcast. Oh my god, this does look like a Dreamcast game. Uh, Collimate. Oh. Ooh. Fast turns. Okay, let's keep growing. There we go. Is that the first time you stole from them? Okay, I'm making it sound worse what it was. Basically, I just had I used their credit card to purchase it, but I immediately because I had it set up on my transfers unlike my bank. So as soon as I used the credit card, I immediately transferred them the $60. So yeah. Let's see here. Fast turns. Herbivore, spike. Oh, I can put those over there? That's weird. Oh well, maybe that'll work a bit better. This is how evolution works. Okay, there we go. That looks a lot better. Yeah, I can move a lot faster now. Now I'm at the top of the food chain, bitch. I'd just plop a colony down and run. Yeah. So I played a lot of this in I meant more were you a brat when you were really young? No, I was a really well behaved kid. Well, it's okay. So in retrospect, it's very obvious that I had childhood bipolar because I was fucking crazy a lot of the time. But no, I aside from just kind of being suicidal and being like having crippling depression, I was a pretty well behaved kid. If that makes sense. I was a lot of probably trouble for my parents just because of my um, mental health issues, but in terms of like other stuff, um, no, I didn't have any other real issues. Like I've never drunk, never smoked, never partied, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. My sister's not a bad kid, but she was a bit more into that stuff than I was. I guess for me, like when I was growing up, if people ever notice, I'm like really hate marijuana. It's just a lot of the people I went to school with became potheads, and they went nowhere in life as a result of that. Like a lot of the people I know smoked so much cannabis back in the day that they blew their brains out, and they for years afterwards, they had trouble speaking properly. Yeah, so. This is. Like, this is so poorly made. Like, I'm almost done. Like, if you look at the bar at the bottom, I'm like 80% of the way to getting through this. Halo 3 was amazing. Yeah, I in retrospect I like the Halo games. I kind of hated them because I was a Nintendo fanboy back then. Also, Xbox used to be, I guess it still is to a certain extent, but it was something like the urban demographic was in. Like if you were a rapper, if you were like a wigger or something, then you liked Xbox. Whereas Nintendo was seen as being kind of more of the nerd thing. Um, let's see here. But I remember Halo 1 was like the first video game I ever got addicted to. I had the PC version. The PC version of Halo was great. It was a lot better than the console version. They added a bunch of stuff in. Um, it was really good. Halo 2 I liked. But like I had kind of hated. I said I hated it largely just because the other thing is it's just I was jealous because I couldn't play it, so and I wanted to play Halo, so. Yeah, looking responding to what Reticent American said. What was I thinking of again? Involving weed. Yeah, I have a friend who has very mild schizophrenia, and weed makes him go crazy. It makes him, as he put it, he says, alcohol may be more dangerous in some ways, but alcohol has never made me think that I'm in the Matrix. So. Oops. The biggest problem with Halo 2 is, you know, when they play the main theme, like the main theme, they have the electric guitar remix. The problem is that song's so awesome. I would just run in uh, and just immediately try to kill as many things as possible, and I just get killed because it just you gotta. But no, Halo 2 is a lot of fun. Halo 3 is good. I got Halo 4. I actually like Halo 4. I feel like Halo is one of those things that it like stopped being as much of a dude bro game. And they kind of flushed the lore out a bit more of it, like as time goes on, and it's become something I like a lot more. Uh, let's see here. Slow Z says, honestly, Argent, weed almost ruined my life when I was smoking it. I was going nowhere, and it just made me more depressed. But after I got off it, I got a job and started being a lot more happy with my life. That's great. Yeah, no, it's great. Um, it's tough. I say this to a lot of people, and you can call me a wage cuck or whatever. But having a job and having a routine is really good for you. Um, it's good for your mental health. Let me see here. The other thing you have to keep in mind about weed is for weed, it's very dependent upon um, when you do it. Because if you do it as an adult, it doesn't really fuck you up that much. But if you do it, the younger you do it, the more damage it causes. So if you do it when you're really young, it has immense impact on your IQ in the long term. Let's see here, poison, electric. Maybe I'll do electric. Yeah, I'll do electric. Your thoughts on multiple personality disorder? It's not something I've ever really looked into, but being bipolar often really does feel like that. Um, I don't know. My just kind of guess thinking about it is that multiple personality disorder is caused by a sorry, if I'm pausing if I'm thinking about something. Um, you can have, and I've talked about this in a couple videos. I think I did one with having bipolar is like having multiple personalities. Um, and basically, when there's a really huge gap between your mind and your emotions, or your intellect and your emotions, and the two things are basically at total war with each other, then it becomes, that is what I think leads to dissociative personality disorder. Um, because you begin to kind of like, there's just a disconnect between the different parts of your brain, and the disconnect is just very hard to reconcile, and it's extremely stressful, um, and kind of taxing on your mental capacities. And I think it leads you to think that there's you're basically, you have multiple identities. Um, that's at least kind of my interpretation of it. It's when you have another aspect is if you just have very um, irrational feelings. So if you just are feeling all this like really random weird stuff, then I could see that leading you to think that you have multiple parts of your personality, etc. So I hope that kind of explains it. I'm still 50-50 on it. It requires the soul for it to be legitimate. Otherwise, it's actually extreme bipolar, which is a flush of poor emotional and environmental contradiction. Yeah, I think that's probably right. To a certain extent. So someone's asking me about the Pope and Islam. Um, I've said this on the Discord, but I've been having a very, very rough relationship with Catholicism lately. Um, and I'm fighting demographics here, so I don't really want to go too hard on it. But I will say this: I don't believe Pope Francis is the Pope, or if he is, then I'm in schism because I can't accept him. Um, it's been proven now what we all long suspected, that he's actively involved in covering up the sex abuse crisis. Um, like it is beyond a shadow of a doubt. So for those of you who haven't heard about the whole allegations, so basically there's this guy. I'm trying to remember what his first name was. If someone could post what McCarrick's, uh, I can't join the reserves. I have a mental illness. What was I thinking of again? Okay, if someone can post, I think his name's Peter McCarrick. No, Theodore McCarrick. Whoever can post it in the chat. Let me look this up. Theodore McCarrick. Thank you. So he was the Cardinal Archbishop of, I believe it was Philadelphia. Was what he was the the Archbishop of. And what wound up happening is there was all this sleazy shit that he was involved with. Like, like what he would do is there would be a they go on like a seminarian retreat, and he would bring 5 people with him, but there'd only be 5 beds. So one of the seminarians would have to share a bed with him, and he'd molest them, and he like would molest like he molested entire generations of seminarians. And like people call it like pedo, etc. But it's very almost none of the people who were molested were children. They were all like teenagers, etc. And there's a very common fetish that uh, that homosexuals have in being attracted to boys of that age group, and that just seems to show up time and time again whenever we get into one of these issues. But it's yeah. So he was doing that. There was all these other sex allegation stuff that went up. It's a long uh, list of stuff. But yeah, there's been all these things going on for like years now. And Pope, when Benedict came to power, he actually went and tried to. He removed a lot of the gay priests. He defrocked a lot of these people. He removed them from office, etc. And he was trying to clean the church up. Almost immediately, what happened though when Francis got elected was he reinstated basically all of them. He brought most of them back, and it is proven now that he has actively been covering up McCarrick and a number of other people's sexual abuse. The cardinal who exposed it actually is now in hiding because he's afraid that the gay mafia is going to come and kill him. It's really disturbing, to be honest. It's yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm a generation. So that's happening, and I mean, Pope Francis didn't deny the charges. When asked about it, he said, "Read the report for yourself." Um, and I mean, to me, that's not a denial. Um, he's in no way denying that the report is valid. If anything, it's kind of a confirmation. He's kind of confirming, yeah, it's legitimate. I got caught. Oh well, but it's I don't know. And this is the dude who's leading the Catholic Church, and he's a fucking psycho. It's it's all deeply disturbing. Thank you, Savage Lars, for the donation. That it's gonna go help pay my bills. I have to get all the rest of them set up. I have a couple. Oh, okay. That one. Sorry, that one got kind of cut off. That was "We Will Live in Prosperity." What was I thinking of again? Let me see here. These. Maybe I'll get rid of those. I never know what to do in this game. I'm not a very creative person when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I don't really know what to put on. Do you consider interracial marriage degeneracy? Okay, that's an interesting question. It depends how one defines degeneracy. Is it degeneracy in the way something like gay marriage is degeneracy? No. It's not that. It's not inherently immoral or that kind of thing. My opposition to it has always been, as reticent American says, on large, it destabilizes societies. It leads to children who have identity issues. Uh, there's kind of a lot of issues I have with it. It's not that the children are illegitimate, and it's not that the marriage isn't real. So that's not what I mean. It's there's a lot of issues. So someone was asking me about this to kind of clarify my position. So very briefly, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. The issue is not so much having minorities per se. The issue is you have a combination of people who you have extremely high rates of immigration. You have a massive decline of the native population's birth rate, and you have these two things happening at the same time. Um, so, like historically speaking, most countries have had minorities. I mean, that's something they've always had. In America, there used to be a lot more full-blooded or part-blooded Indians in like the eastern United States. But what wound up happening is the birth rate was a lot higher, and they were a smaller proportion of the population. So most of them just got assimilated over time. Like in Canada, we had a bunch of Japanese who came in at the first half of the 20th century, and they were like less than 1% of the population, and they just went on to they just mixed in with the population, and they aren't even really a thing anymore here. But the issue is, like in the case of America, or more so Germany, Germany has a sub replacement level birth rate combined with um, uh, huge amounts of immigration and immigrants having a ton of children. So there's no capacity to assimilate them both biologically and culturally. Um, in Native Indians. So that's kind of, hopefully that kind of clarifies it a bit. If it was like, and I'm not trying to be a base civic nationalist here. I'm just trying to be like um, real here. Let's see here. It looks like it's having trouble with dropped frames. Let me try turning my bitrate down a bit and see if that helps. Oh, I can't turn it down while it's live. Oh well. Let's see. The 17 kids asked me if I've seen Interstellar. Yes, I love Interstellar. Interstellar, I actually gave a 10 out of 10 to. It was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. I loved Interstellar. I love all the people who were in it. Matthew McConaughey is a great actor. I like absolutely pretty much everything that what's his name has made. Christopher Nolan. I like more or less everybody, um, every movie Nolan's ever made. Dunkirk is a masterpiece. I gave Dunkirk like a really good review. Did I turn VSync off? That's an interesting question. This game is too shitty to have VSync. This is like before VSync was created. Okay, so this is a ripoff of World of Warcraft. This is before. Oh no, WASD does move. Okay, let's see here. What? I'm eating a mink? What kind of. What the fuck? What is this bolt? There's just some random animal? Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I guess maybe the notifications don't work for YouTube subs. That's too bad, because I actually have some good stuff set up for that. But if the video output is too bad, because it, okay, you know what? That is, okay, that's dropped frames. Um, I'm gonna very briefly stop the stream, turn down my bitrate, and then restart it, and then hopefully that'll help. Okay, so I'll be back in literally like 30. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm back now. Yeah, I love Dunkirk. Dunkirk is like one of the best war movies I've ever seen. Um, in particular, the use of music was really good. Like how they had the ticking clock in the background for the entirety of the film. I thought was a really kind of interesting touch they had. And it just he really did a good job of building the whole like suspense, and you were wondering. I mean, we know what historically what happened, but you're like, are these guys going to get out in time? Um, that kind of thing. Care to make it friend or foe? Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Is A Quiet Place movie of the year? So far, yes. Sorry, I keep getting distracted when I'm trying to go into detail. But no, Dunkirk is just a masterpiece. It was literally the most suspenseful movie I've ever seen. He had just a ton of great actors in it. I'm gonna be nice today, so no, actually, I'm gonna be evil. This is like this awesome World of Warcraft tier combat. Well done to the victor. Well done to the victor. Go the spoils. You're on your way to a bigger brain and a smarter you. Big brain centrism. Now I get to eat his corpse and gain his power like in Highlander. But no, there's that expression in Nolan we trust. Because I was like really mad that he was making what was it called again? That Nolan was making Dunkirk. So I'm like, we don't need another World War II movie. My friend Abstract's one sentence review of the movie was, it's not that this movie is unnecessary, it's that every other war movie is unnecessary, or most of the other ones are unnecessary. Cool, I can go just attack their village. This is so crappy. This is like early World of Warcraft here. Let me think. What are Nolan's other movies? When will you review the Dark Knight trilogy? At some point. I need something like a really good idea before I do it. I love them. I really like Dark Knight Rises. I think people were a little skeptical about Dark Knight Rises. Like people I find aren't as positive about that as they are about the other movies in the series. But I really liked it for what it was. It was a very ambitious movie. And I appreciate that Nolan, because The Dark Knight was almost one of the most, like, I'd say perfect movies. Like it hit every note just about right. It did everything it set out to do. But I feel like The Dark Knight Rises was kind of more of an ambitious movie, and I admire that. But no, I love Christopher Nolan. You know, it'd be awesome. I wish Nolan would direct a Bond film. That would be sweet. Instead, we're gonna have Idris Elba, which is gonna be truly awful. Priority. Let me see if I can turn this up at all to try to deal with the buffering. Okay, no, it's not working very well. Let me see here. What was the thing about Gunman? Oh, Sam Hyde. I admit I've never found the Sam Hyde stuff funny. I admit, like, I watch World Peace. I'm gonna get so much shit. I didn't think World Peace was like that funny, to be honest. And I don't find like the Sam Hyde memes that funny. My issue with Infinity War, I will say this: Infinity War was much better than the previous two Avengers movies. Because I really hated Avengers 1 and I hated Avengers 2. Because Avengers 2 was just such a waste. Like, you had James Spader, who's really good at playing a villain, and they did, like, nothing with his character. Like, nothing about Ultron made any sense. Um, so... It's all Marvel movies have shitty villains. Let's just, like, go through a couple in our mind. What was the motivation of the bad guy in Iron Man 1? Was there a clear villain? I guess there was the guy who played Ironmonger, and then there was also... Because there's the guy who played Ironmonger, and then there was the random terrorists. In the second one... I don't know, I just... They're all just awful. The second one, like, the guy wanted to make God bleed. He also wanted to get his bird back, but he didn't get his bird back. And then he did get his bird back, and then it was just, like, never mentioned again. Thor 1 was good. Thor 2 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Thor 3 was better than 3, but worse than 2. Doctor Strange was mediocre. My issue with just a lot of Marvel movies is they're just very mediocre. They're just not particularly interesting. They don't do anything like innovative, or they don't really. Just aren't very creative movies. That's I do like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. Black Panther, people are asking me about. Black Panther, I really liked. Black Panther, I actually think might be the best Marvel movie, or one of the better Marvel superhero movies, because it's a lot more interesting. Like it, I enjoyed it a lot more. It was more innovative. The action was kind of more interesting. The uh, Black Panther was kind of base. The villain actually had kind of an interesting motive. Even if you disagreed with him, he was at least kind of like relatable. But no, I like Black Panther a lot. I think it could be the best Marvel movie. That or maybe like Iron Man 1 or something. But no, overall, I have nothing but good things to say about Black Panther. Why do you still have fins in a propulsion jet? Because they're vestigial. I guess. I don't know. The fins are kind of cool. It can be like a deep one. It can be like Cthulhu. I might leave those. Or I could like put them on my back and they could be like wings. Okay, those will be the wings that will redeem my people. I shall call them the wings of redemption. Let's see here. How do I change my creature's color? Paint mode. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out why the screen keeps glitching like that. Okay, there we go. That's more like what it should be. I hated Spider-Man Homecoming was complete shit. Oh, Super Seducer 2 is coming out? Let me look this up. Okay, OBS. Screen flicker. Okay, so it's saying, okay. It's saying there's an issue with the resolution. Okay, let me see here. The refresh rate. I don't know. It's a frame rate issue. I'll figure it out later. What was I thinking about? Yeah, the thing about Super Seducer is honestly like it's kind of bullshit how much people complained about it. Because, like, most of his advice was really not that bad. Like, the really controversial stuff was clearly in the game for a joke. It was just very tongue-in-cheek. Like, if you chose most of the really bad options, like to molest the girls or whatever, those were in there for jokes and he maligned you for them. Like, generally speaking, his approach to it seems to be you have to be yourself, but you have to be confident and you have to be interesting to women. Like, you can't be a pussy. You have to, like, I think he's pretty clear. Like, he doesn't want you to put on, like, to be fake, etc. But you have to, like, you have to talk about interesting things, stuff like that. But, like, as far as, like, pickup artistry goes, he's, like, one of the most mild-mannered guys. Like, the impression I got from like, he seems like a pretty fun, like, he would be a fun guy to maybe to hang out with and, like, listen to some of his stories. But, no, I feel like people just, were kind of unfair about it. Compared to, like, shit like Roosh has done. I think it's nowhere like on the same planet. Why does my creature run like that? That's really weird. Oh well, I'll have to just try to figure this shit out. Wow, jump is shit. Have you ever read anything in the Nazuverse? Yes, I love Tsukihime. Tsukihime is great. I remember a friend of mine in high school first introduced me to Tsukihime, and I really enjoyed it. I've never been able to make it through Fate's Stay Night because it's too long. And I just kind of get bored. But yeah, I loved Tsukihime. I played through it multiple times. I played through all the stories. I like that a lot. They do a pretty good job. It's just my issue with Fate Stay Night is there's just way too many versions of it. Like instead of like making new stuff, they just make like an excessive number of like random side projects. Like there's just billions of them, and I just find it obnoxious, to be honest. Discovering liberalist philosophy, watching Sargon videos is what made him grow. Why is it so weird? Like, why is he running like that? Okay, where the hell? This is so poorly made. Oh my god. I remember thinking the graphics in this game were shitty back in like um 2008. So I remember I also had Jade Empire. It was the first time I was playing Jade Empire, and Jade Empire looks so much better than this game. It's embarrassing. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let me evolve. Oh yeah, let me see how many more people I can piss off. So I've been watching Kill la Kill because everyone told me I have to watch it because it's like based. I don't get why people like it so much. I've definitely seen like worse things than Kill la Kill, but I didn't think it. I don't get why it's. Is it like a meme or something? I I don't know. I'm gonna have my people convert to Hinduism, and I'm gonna give them a second set of arms, maybe. Like a lot of people really like what's her name, Satsuki. I just find her really obnoxious. Um, like a lot of people call her like best girl or whatever. I just find her really annoying. Actually, I find all the characters really annoying. I don't know. It's an okay show. I don't say it's bad, but I just don't get why it gets the amount of love it gets. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. There's extra shit. Oh, I didn't even know that shit was in the game. Okay. Let's try. Oh, that looks completely awful. Was it because Anti-Dem did like his big my waifu is better than your waifu thing? I was watching more of the His and Her Circumstances anime. I hadn't real. It goes to like complete shit after like episode something or other. It becomes really bad later on, which I'm disappointed by because I liked it, but it just Ano goes full Ano later in the series. I find like there's the ode to Ano, as I call it, is random shots of traffic lights and with train noises in the background. You know Ano directed something if that's in it because that's what every single thing he makes has. Let's see, the beak. Shit. No. Wow. The available mouths are terrible. Okay, Ano didn't direct 17 to 25 of Karakana. 26. Okay, that's why those episodes are shitty. I just found them to be really like disjointed and just unwatchably awful. So, okay, if you're telling me then that's just somebody else did that. Maybe it's like those episodes of the island episodes of what's it called again? Nadia's Secret Blue Water, where the NHK forced them to make a whole bunch of episodes they had no intention of making because they were greedy fucks and the show was doing really well. The third rebuild was was one of the most disappointing things I've ever seen. Some might say it was the most disappointing thing since my son was was how bad the third rebuild is. Oh, I don't. It's just it's like Ano just kind of forgot everything that made Eva good. Um, like Evas are supposed to be immensely expensive and difficult to manufacture, and they somehow just made like just billions of them. They just mass produced them, and it's just it doesn't make any sense. And then they just change too much. This is kind of the biggest issue. But I really hate the third movie. I don't even really want to see the fourth movie. I just feel like it's going to be awful. Um, what is this? What's the like the gay name they gave it? Like um, A plus 3 plus 4. No, 1 plus 3 is gonna be like it's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard. I when I heard it, I was actually shocked by just how shitty a name it was. But I mean, I guess it's just kind of the perfect companion to what has become a complete and utter disaster. I mean, I guess people like who dislike Ava can say there was always like shit like that in it before, and that's true. There was always shit like that before, but I don't know. It became especially bad in the rebuild. Yeah, 1 plus 3. Honestly, there's a lot of character creator options, but I don't find any of them are particularly good. My okay, so why did I hate 3 so much? Okay, one of the shittiest parts of 3 was how everyone blamed Shinji but no one explained like why they blamed him. Like it didn't make any sense. Like they wouldn't explain to him like why they were angry at him. They wouldn't explain to him why like what it was he's done. They just like hated on Shinji for no reason, but and they expected everybody to, like us in the audience, to somehow understand their nonsense. So yeah, that's one of my many issues with it. You cannot go back. Okay, because someone got like angry at me because I said the Great Ancestral Race isn't canon, even if Anno says it's canon, because it's bullshit. Um, and the fact that it's complete shit overrides the fact um, like it doesn't make sense. It just ruins it. Yeah, the Great Ancestral Race came from some like PS2 game that wasn't canon, and then for some reason they just made it. I don't know. It doesn't fucking make any sense. Nothing about it makes any sense. Yeah, they made Shinji gay for some reason, even though there's no evidence of this. What's funny, an interesting question, um, is how tall the characters in Ava are. That's something. Look at how shitty that collision detection is. Like that's just bleeding in, like the bleeding effect in Assassin's Creed. And why does he run like he's fucking, I don't know. Gotta pee his pants. I don't know. Someone was not right in the head when they made this game. Like Jade Empire was out by this. Jade Empire. Wait, when did Mass Effect 1 come out? I think it was before this. Yeah, Mass Effect 1 came out a year before this. Wait, did they just disappear? What the fuck? Hunt 3 Hopper monsters. Okay, where are they? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna end the stream in a little bit just because I'm tired. It's been a long week, but yeah, an interesting question is how tall everyone is in Ava. Most people seem to think that Gendo is Chad height for the Japanese, which is 5'11", and that Shinji will probably be 5'11" when he's fully grown. Yui is people. Some people guess Yui is like 5'9" or something. They're both pretty tall for Japanese people. The reason why Shinji's shorter, he just hasn't gone through his growth spurt yet. Once he hits his growth spurt, he'll probably be as high. Anyways, I think that's good for tonight. We had a comfy stream, which I've been meaning to have. So God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you later.